Hey folks, welcome back to the Lone Pine Tarot, or welcome to the channel if you're brand new here. For today's pick a card reading, we are touching on a topic that I haven't discussed in quite a long time. And of course, as you can tell by the title you just clicked on, our topic today is about spirit animals, animal guides. Basically, what is your spirit animal, plus what message do they want to share with you today that will help you on your journey going forward. So today we're actually picking with tarot cards instead of oracle cards, and we're using the Spacious Tarot deck. So spirit animal guides for all of my piles today, could you come forward and help guide us to the right cards that will help them choose the message that is meant for them? Thank you. Okay, there's number 1, 2, and for pile 3, I'm feeling this one right near the front. And let's unveil your cards together. So for pile 1, your pile leader to choose from today is the Six of Pentacles, for pile 2's today, here in the middle, your card to choose from is the Two of Cups, and last but not least, for my pile 3's over here on the right, we have the Five of Swords. So just to reiterate, pile 1 is Six of Pentacles, pile 2 is Two of Cups, and pile 3 is Five of Swords. If you're interested in picking with like elements or astrological correspondences, we have Earth is the element for the Six of Pentacles, water is the element for the Two of Cups, and air is the element for the Five of Swords. Feel free, though, to pause on this part of the video if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you today. Otherwise, whenever you're ready, drop down to the description box below or the top pinned comment beneath the reading. Find the timestamp for your pile there, and I'll see you in our little chat about your animal spirit guide, what or who they are, and what message they have for you today. See you there. Hello there, pile number 1. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about your spirit animal, plus what message they want to send to you. As you recall, your pile leader you chose was the Six of Pentacles, also part of the suit of Earth, if you chose by elemental correspondences. So of course, whenever we use tarot cards, I like to put them right back into the deck so they're available for us to use today. But first, we're actually going to use oracle cards. So we'll go back to the tarot cards later and draw your oracle cards first. So spirit animal coming forward for my pile 1. Please lead us to the right cards that will identify who you are and what you would like to say to them today. Thank you. Okay, so we actually got 2 flowers for you. So the first flower is anemone with anticipation, and I'll read the quote later. And the second card is the dahlia. So 2 red ones, though there's a little bit of white, with the keyword of dignity. So we'll set those up here. Anticipation and dignity. Okay, and then next we'll draw your actual animal deck here. Okay, for sure that one wanted to come out, so we'll draw that one. And your Woodland Wardens today is, the badger and the ginkgo with healing wounds. So far it seems like there's a badger animal spirit coming forward for you, pile 1. And of course, badgers get a little bit of a bad rep sometimes because we know them as very... I know it depends on the type of badger. I know the old joke goes, I believe there's an African variant of a badger called a honey badger. I think that's where they're from. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. And they tend to be kind of cranky. They tend to be very ferocious and protective, right? Also, I've heard of, badgers here in North America sometimes, you might want to kind of leave them alone. So this animal spirit kind of gives off that energy to me of, like, not mean necessarily, but more of a protective type. It's more something I feel like is around you a lot whenever you need protection. And specifically, like it says here, healing wounds is the key word for this particular card with the badger and the ginkgo. It seems like not just protection of you, pile one, but also an animal spirit that is around when you're recovering from things that have hurt you. Okay, so comforting type energy. Let's see what else they want to say to you. We might also get some other animals or confirmation from this deck. Let's see. From Sacred Destiny, you have leadership with there's a polar bear in this one. Which I know badgers and bears aren't the same thing, but they have kind of a similar look to them, right? They have kind of a similar of that shape of the snout. So we have a badger, we have a polar bear. Let's see what else comes forward. I also will draw your Nature's Whispers card. We'll glean more about exactly what they want to talk to you about today. But I get the feeling, because of the nature of this particular spirit animal pile one, it's about either protecting yourself or healing from something. And your Nature's Whispers is celebrate differences. Number 3, if you're interested in the numerology. Celebrate differences. Very interesting. So yes, just to reiterate, pile one. So far, the main animal coming forward from the Woodland Wardens Oracle that we drew was, like I said, yes, the badger. I feel that it is like a badger type energy coming forward for you. Like I said, protective, very defensive, kind of an independent-minded creature, right? And so I think the role they play in your life, as I was saying before, is one of a guardian, more like, and one of a healer, okay? They are an animal spirit that guards you as much as they try to comfort you in times of sorrow or pain after maybe things have gone wrong in your life every once in a while, right? And specifically what they're coming forward to talk to you about today, pile one, is I get the feeling that you had a situation recently where you were expecting something to go one way and it didn't turn out exactly like you expected it would. I get the feeling of a bit of disappointment. I get a feeling of a little bit of embarrassment even, especially because of the presence of Dahlia, meaning dignity. Dignity meaning, like, you know, someone's pride, sort of, or someone's feeling of respect amongst others, okay? I feel like this situation kind of damaged your feeling of dignity a little bit. You were really excited for it. I think you were like, oh god, this is going to go so well. And I think specifically it had to do something to do with your leadership quality, hence why this card came out from the Sacred Destiny Oracle. You were like, I'm going to show this leadership quality of mine. I'm going to do so well. And then for some reason, it didn't go quite the way that you expected. And or if this is future energy, pile one, this is something that's coming down the pipeline that maybe you're a bit worried about, and that's why your animal spirit of the badger wanted to come forward today and say, hey, not only am I your guardian and your healer type spirit from the animal spirits around you, but I also understand that this is something that's been bothering you, especially because, like I was saying, this being a protective type element in your life or in your spirit team circle, right? They understand that, you know, like the pain of disappointments they want to heal, or the pain or the feeling of vulnerability when things don't go the way that we expect them to, or maybe we don't, you know, we're so excited for something and we're like, oh god, it's going to go so great, and then it just kind of like a pop balloon, a needle just pricks it, and then, you know, the balloon goes down, and you're like, oh man, well, there goes my hopes for that thing. And just being very, very disappointed. And what's also interesting too is the presence of celebrate differences. Now this card is all about being accepting of others, of course, accepting diversity of thought amongst you and others. It could have basically be an implication that there was a sort of argument involved as well, where you had a difference between yourself and someone else, and maybe it got a little bit more public than you were expecting. Maybe it made you look like less of a leader than you wanted to come off as. Like maybe something was kind of going wrong and you were in charge of something, someone argued with you, and it's like it kind of just went downhill from there. Not necessarily of your fault, pile 1, but in any case, it was almost like one of those situations where even though it technically wasn't your fault, you were technically responsible for something. Does that kind of make sense, pile 1? And so that's what your Badger Spirit's coming forward to be like, okay, I want to talk to you about this. I want to give you advice going forward. I want to give you some more perspective on what really happened with this situation, because I am a protective spirit animal for you. Pile 1 is kind of what they're saying to you. And then I will read these quotes here, as I promised before. Anticipation. I felt like an arrow pulled back and ready to be launched into something big. That was by A.B. Shepherd. And then over here with dignity for the Dahlia, we have a wise man has dignity without pride. A fool has pride without dignity. And that was by Confucius. So yes, a hit to the pride. A bit of a crack in your excitement and anticipation for something. Sorry for the silence. I'm just making sure I'm not missing any intuitive messages here, pile 1. Celebrate differences. Yeah, definitely some sort of argument here. Let's draw your tarot cards right now, actually, pile 1. So, Badger Spirit coming forward for pile 1 with your protective and healing energy. Could you guide us to maybe around 5 tarot cards that explains more about what's your perspective on this situation, please? Thank you. Oh, what happened? Okay, so we got 2. For sure, that one. Okay, yeah, that's going to be the core card. The 5 of Cups is a sorrow. So we also, Ace of Pentacles. Okay, so there was an opportunity of some sort. And then we have the Elder or the King of Cups as it's known in most decks. Here, actually, I'll hold that up a little bit more in the middle. I got excited to put it down next to the ace. Yes, King of Cups, emotional stability, maturity, leadership. 5 of Cups is a sorrow of some sort, and being the core card is almost like the core emotion of what's going on here. A sorrow or a loss. And then we have, okay, yep, 3 of Swords reversed is overcoming a time of pain. Beautiful. So it seems like things are going to perk up, but let's pull the last card before I get too far into the weeds. And the Tower reversed. Beautiful. Okay, so pile 1. Whether or not this is past or future energy, if this argument and this kind of loss of pride or this particular situation going on, as I had described earlier with the Oracle cards, if you feel like all is lost, if you feel like, oh my God, everything's going down the tubes, there's no way I can salvage this, your Badger Spirit is coming forward, more so with its healing energy, okay? A little bit of protective too, to say it's going to be okay. And I say that because, like I said, when I pulled out these 2 cards, the 3 of Swords reversed is all about overcoming a time of pain, okay? So whatever is paining you about the situation at hand, that's coming to an end. And then we also have the Tower reversed. And the Tower reversed as an outcome card is fantastic, pile 1, because you know what that means? It means avoiding a disaster. So if you are running around with your hair on fire right now or lately with whatever this was, your Badger Spirit is saying you're going to avoid the disaster. The pain will be overcome, even though I know right now with that 5 of Cups, you feel like all is lost and there's a sorrow or a pain deep inside. Another beauty of the 5 of Cups, and you can't really see it in this particular depiction of it because this is different than the traditional Rider-Waite-Smith version, but in their traditional Rider-Waite-Smith version of the 5 of Cups, there's always 2 cups upright and there's always 3 cups spilled. Or sometimes a variation of like 1 is up and the other 4 are spilled, etc. But in the traditional depiction where there's a human figure in it, the cups that are not spilled are usually behind the figure and he's only focusing on the ones that are broken, okay? And so why I'm explaining that to you is because when we see the 5 of Cups with the man focusing on what has been spilled and not what is still salvageable, it's also an indication to look on the bright side of things, pile number 1, okay? It's an indication to look at life a little bit more on, yes, something fell apart. Yes, something went wrong. that happens in life inevitably all the time to people every single day. You can't avoid it sometimes, pile 1, right? We all know that as adults. But the problem is that, or I should say it's not even a problem. The good thing is, though, is that there's usually always some sort of salvageable element to it. And that's why with this being the core card for you, the 5 of Cups, there's a salvageable element. Okay. And that's what's going to lead you to that overcoming of the pain and the avoidance of a disaster. Okay. So, beautiful. And I haven't even talked about the Ace of the Elder or the King of Cups yet. So the Ace of Pentacles tells me that the inciting incident for this whole situation was a new opportunity that was offered to you. Okay. Something new came along, and Pentacles tends to indicate career, usually, or something to do with finances or jobs or the material things around you, being the earth suit, right? The very earthly energy of money, goods, home, etc. And the King of Cups speaks of someone who is a leader, right? Because they're a king, especially in the element or the realm of emotions, because the cup suit is all about how we feel or our relationships. It's the water suit, right? So I think you were trying to be a leader in some way regarding the emotions around something, or trying to help someone with their feelings or with a relationship. And then the sorrow came with the 5 of Cups, and you're like, oh crap. Oh no, like, I feel like everything has been dropped completely, but I'll just reiterate again, even though I don't want to repeat too much. The Badger Spirit is saying that's coming to an end there. You're going to avoid a disaster of some sort, okay? And we still have some time together, so I do want to actually draw some extra tarot cards for you, pile 1, because that's a pretty straightforward answer of sad thing. Oh no, everything's going to be great though. So, you know what I mean? So, let me shuffle the deck back here. What's a good question to ask the Badger Spirit for you, pile 1? I'm going to ask what caused the issue. Now, some of you might know what caused it, but some of you might be kind of like, why did this bad thing happen? Why did this sorrow happen? So I'm going to ask your Badger Spirit for Badger Spirit, 3 cards on that, please. Why did this happen? If for those of pile 1 who need more clarity on that, why? 3 cards, thank you. So definitely this one right here. We have Judgment reversed. Sometimes that's contextual, but usually that means unable to move forward or level up. 9 of Cups reversed can mean someone who is smug, or a wish was avoided, not fulfilled. And then we have the 10 of Pentacles, legacy or inheritance. Interesting. Let me look at that for just a moment here, pile 1, while I also take a drink for my voice. There was someone in the situation, pile 1, who was unable to move on or adjust from a wish that they had wanted to be fulfilled but was not granted. And it's something to do with something that was meant to be passed down or like inherited. Because the 10 of Pentacles tends to mean the card of legacy. If this is like a job related thing, pile 1, I almost wonder if somebody was spiteful because they didn't get the role that you got, and so I don't want to say sabotage, but maybe they were kind of being, the words coming to mind are like they were being a big baby about it. Like they were like, oh man, I wish I had that. It's like they did the wrong thing, because Judgment reversed can also mean lack of learning a life lesson that they were supposed to. That's how I interpret it sometimes, and it was something to do with like a wish that was not fulfilled with the 9 of Cups reversed. So for those of you who are wondering why something went wrong, that's your answer from the Badger Spirit. Someone was not able to grow up, is kind of the phrase coming forward. And they were petty and bitter about, oh no, my wish didn't get granted. I'm mad. And it was kind of like a flip desk moment almost. Like they weren't even thinking about how it would affect others the way that they did this, or like Because I see it more as like a blind upsetness rather than a targeted spiteful thing, pile 1. But I almost get a feeling from the Ten of Pentacles too that with it being the inheritance legacy card, it was like their thought was I was supposed to get that, not them. Like that was the train of thought they had regarding the situation, and that's why things went wrong. That's what it feels like. And then I do want to ask one last question for you, pile 1. I want to ask your Badger Spirit if they could possibly give you 3 cards of advice going forward with this situation, especially for those of you where this is more of a future thing, you're kind of, or maybe present, still working through it. Badger Spirit, can you give us advice regarding how should they proceed forward with this? Thank you. I mean, the good news is that the Badger Spirit said you're avoiding disaster and you're overcoming pain. So, okay, so we have the Empress, which is the card of feminine energy and motherhood and creation. So advice going forward. The Three of Wands, go forward with your plans anyways. And then we have the Two of Swords, making a choice. Okay, so pile 1. If this Badger Spirit had any piece of advice that they most importantly want to send to you, okay, or most direly want to send to you, they are saying right now is the time to really embody feminine energy with the Empress having come out. The Empress is all about creation and nurturing things, especially being next to the Three of Wands, which is the card of go and take action on your plans. If there's something that you've been brewing for a while, you've kind of been having it waiting in the wings regarding this situation, go forward, okay, and make a choice decisively. That's what the Two of Swords is all about, is being caught between 2 different decisions, and usually it pops up when there's an indication of now is the time to make that choice, to go forward and take action on something that you've been nurturing or creating so far. Now that could mean maybe like, you know, a new project that kind of takes the place of maybe one that didn't go so well, or maybe you've been thinking about, hey, I know maybe someone was being spiteful and that's why things didn't work out so well. Or they were just kind of upset and it really wasn't me that dropped the ball, and maybe you've been considering like talking to your manager or some authority figure involved about it. That's an indication to go forward and talk about it, okay? So whatever you have been holding in your mind of, should I do this, should I not do this, and you've been kind of nurturing it for a while, the Badger Spirit is saying go forward and do it now, okay? This is the time to take action on plans that we've made, okay? That's what the Three of Wands is all about. And decisively with the Two of Swords, making that choice. Yes. So definitely, like I was saying, that Badger Spirit is a very protective, healing energy, pile 1. They not only want you to heal from the pain, literally, well, healing wounds from the actual Badger card, but then also the Three of Swords reversed we saw earlier, overcoming a time of wounds. But they also want you to stand up and defend yourself, because even when you look at this particular Two of Swords, it's 2 swords crossed over one another, right? Like, kind of in a defensive stance. Or even the Three of Wands here almost kind of looks like a wall of wands alongside a pathway. They want you to defend yourself and they want you to be decisive, okay? I mean, what would... this might sound kind of stupid, but what would a honey badger do if faced with something in their path, right? Or if you're not sure what a honey badger would do, look up honey badgers and you'll get a good laugh out of it, but an inspiring one because they don't take crap. Let's just put it lightly, right? So, yes. Take that action, pile 1. Defend yourself. Be decisive, okay? Regain your pride. Regain your leadership. And take what is right for you, okay? Take what is meant to be yours. All right. Now is not the time to lick wounds. Now is the time to keep moving as the wounds heal along the way anyways. All right. So that's what I'll leave you with today, my wonderful pile 1. Thank you so much for tuning in to this animal spirit reading. I love tapping into the energy of the Badger animal spirit that came forward. That was quite fun, and I've never done an animal spirit reading before, so it's kind of a new experience, and thanks for joining me for it. So if you liked it, if it resonated, please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, full of honey badger energy, taking no crap, right? And I hope to see you in the next reading, pile ones. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 2. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about your spirit animal that's coming forward to speak with you, as well as the message they want to share. As you recall, the card used to pick your pile was the Two of Cups, and or the element of water if you use elemental correspondences. So as is our tradition, whenever we do use tarot to choose our piles, I'm going to stick the Two of Cups right back in the deck, and we'll shuffle that later when we do move on to the tarot part of the reading. But first, I do want to connect to your spirit animal coming forward with the oracle cards. So spirit animal for pile 2 that wants to come forward today for the message that's most important for them to hear. Could you please guide us to the right cards that will help portray what you're trying to say? Thank you, and who you are as a spirit animal. Okay, so the first one is the Flower of Gloxinia, with the subtitle Love at First Sight or Proud Spirit, and I will read the quote later. And then we'll use the Woodland Wardens to identify what animal specifically is coming forward. So please identify yourself. Definitely that one right there. We have, oh, the bee, cute. So we have the bee and the pomegranate with productivity. Oh, I just love honeybees. They're so cute. When I used to grow sunflowers in my garden, they always used to fall asleep in the sunflowers. I just go out there and find just a bunch of bees just napping. It was very cute. The bee and the pomegranate. Beautiful. So I don't know if you tend to see a lot of bee symbolism in your life, or you're surrounded by a lot of bees. You've been noticing them a lot lately. Sometimes that's a sign from your animal spirit pile too. Let's see what else they want to say. And as we know, bees are always, hence why their subtitle here is productivity, hard at work. And then we have wisdom, with some aquatic animals there. Okay, with wisdom. Interesting message. And then last but not least, we have the Nature's Whispers Oracle. I'm already getting an inkling about what the message is about. Yeah, 50, potential gateway. So pile 2, the bee spirit here today that came forward for you is coming forward to speak to you of a message about, the best way I can describe it is you are on the cusp of something. And I think some of you might already kind of know what this is, and some of you might be very surprised, especially when we move to the tarot cards that will explain more about the situation at hand. But so far with your oracle cards, yeah, it's like you, and specifically, it's not just you being on the cusp of something new and important in your life. It's also a question of, or a message about the wisdom, hence why that card came forward, the wisdom of knowing when to act upon it, okay? Because the nature of the bee, as I was saying before, is they're hard workers. I mean, we even use the phrase in English, a worker bee, okay? That's someone who is very nose to the grindstone, working hard away at something, hammering away at something again and again and again, pouring all of their blood and their sweat and their tears into their work, okay? And I feel like because of the nature of the bee and the productivity message, the gateway cusp that you're on is, what's the best way to put it? I'm gonna tune in 1 second here. They're saying it's something to do with your career or your job situation, pile 2. It's career or job. And it's something that's going to come up, and either you already have experienced the cusp and you're sitting there like, well, where the heck did that come from? Because it kind of just came out of the blue. I think that's why Gloxinia came up for you. Like, it says love at first sight or proud spirit. It doesn't necessarily mean romantic love, pile 2. I think it might mean more, it's a situation akin to love at first sight, where you just look over and you glance and this thing pops up and you're like, oh, and there's a click of, well, that's something I can pursue. And that's kind of how I feel with this particular career thing going on for you. And yeah, like I said, there's a question of the wisdom of knowing when to act, okay, when to grind away at working towards it, you know, or when to maybe pursue something new. That's the kind of energy coming forward for you with this reading today. Yeah. And I think because of the presence of the bee being a spirit animal for you, pile 2, you seem to be the type of person who is very worker bee-like, you know, even those of you that maybe are at a point of retirement, right? Or you are between jobs right now. Maybe that's part of the energy here, is the energy of a new opportunity, of a new job coming down the line if you're between jobs right now, or if you're retired, something that will come up that will be a potential outlet for the energy you used to put into your job. Maybe you've been feeling kind of restless lately or something like that. Or if you're currently at a career, or like you're in a job right now, pile 2, it's you having the opportunity for, I want to say it could be like, especially with gateway being a keyword here, like a promotion or like a new job that comes along that's a lot better than this one, you know, based on like benefits or salary or like the people there, prestige, things like that. And I think whatever it is, pile 2, it's just a very good fit for you. Because I'm really drawn to the quote here under the Gloxinia, and I'll read that like I promised earlier. It says, when I saw you, I fell in love, and you smiled because you knew. And that's from Shakespeare, right? Good old Billy Shakes, right? And so I feel like, especially I'm drawn to you smiled because you knew. It's like the moment you notice that that opportunity is there, it just clicks. And you're like, oh, that's what I should do. That's what I should go towards. Like it feels like throughout your life you've been kind of fumbling in darkness a little bit of a murkiness, and then all of a sudden you turn around and you see this bright light and you're like, oh, that's what I'm supposed to follow. Could even be a career change, pile 2, because sometimes, you know, we get swept along in the currents of life. And sometimes we do it not even so much thinking about what we're doing, we're just trying to survive, and we keep going and keep plodding one foot in front of the other, and it's like one of those moments in life that comes forward where the steps, each step taken walking ahead, isn't just a survival, this is what I have to do thing. It's a, this is what I want to do thing. That's the transition I'm kind of talking about with this potential gateway here. So very, very, very beautiful energy here, pile 2. This seems to be like a really good reading, like a good positive fortune blessing reading coming forward for you today from the bee spirit that's coming for you. So, yes, and 2, I'm always drawn to whenever I hear pomegranate, because that is the fruit that came out with your bee. Pomegranates were traditionally associated with Persephone of Greek myth, right? And Persephone was basically like a forest or like a nature sort of spirit nymph, daughter of Demeter, or yes, who was the goddess of like the harvest. Okay, well, what happened is one day, god of the underworld Hades saw her and kidnapped her and took her, and then she ate of the pomegranate, which sealed her fate to stay in the underworld with him and marry him, right, and become the goddess of the underworld. Okay, so that's kind of what it feels like to me for you, connecting that to the myth of Persephone, is like you being whisked away to this completely new thing that you've never experienced before, and it's a surprise, kind of like Persephone being taken by Hades. You're like, oh my god, what's happening? Like, all of a sudden I know this thing, or I see this thing here and I didn't notice it before. And then you get there and you're like, you know, maybe I'll willingly stay here. Like, I kind of like what this is. That's that feeling of the energy of like Persephone coming forward from, you know, the connection to the myth, right? Yeah, beautiful. And knowing when to spring with the wisdom card. the wisdom to know when to act. Because maybe, we'll talk about this with your tarot cards pile too, but I feel like maybe there could be a hesitation at the time. We'll see. Maybe like the Two of Swords reversed will pop out or something like that. But actually, I'm going to draw your tarot cards now. Spirit coming forward, the Beast Spirit for pile 2. Could you help guide us to the right tarot cards that explains more about how you're seeing this situation and what's going on? Thank you. 5 cards around there, please. Okay, Death reversed. So right now, there's been a stagnancy, because Death reversed means a lack of change. Very interesting. We just talked about the god and the goddess of the underworld. Death in Greek mythology, too. Seems to be a prominent theme. Okay, the Lovers reversed. Very interesting. You know, I take it back. Some of you, this might not just be career. This could also be a relationship, because we also have love at first sight with the Gloxinia, and then the Lovers also just came out. But being reversed, though, it's about either a relationship that hasn't been going well, or you've had a lack of luck in love, things like that. Or it could mean, for those of you, this is career-related, like a lack of connection with your job, like a bad relationship with your job. Maybe that's why you're kind of spurred to find something new. And then we have the Two of Pentacles, balancing finances, balancing, juggling the things around us. Okay. Being a balancing act. And then we have the Ace of Swords, a new idea. See, I was like, something new coming down the pipeline. And then last but not least, we have the Four of Swords reversed, which is the card of coming from a time of rest and waking up and being active again. So that's kind of just reiterating what I was saying, pile 2. The Beast Spirit is saying at the core of this reading, we have the Two of Pentacles. And the Two of Pentacles is about balancing our finances or juggling things, okay? So right now, that being the core card, the core emotion of what's going on in your head, at least what they're saying, is you feeling like I'm just juggling things around. I feel like I'm just like surviving. I'm not actually living, you know, like enjoying what I'm doing right now, especially in terms of career, because the Pentacle suit is Earth, which is career in tarot typically, or like material things. It could also indicate that maybe where you're at right now is very stressful. Not just because of the act of juggling things, meaning like you have a lot of things in the air and you're like frustrated and you're like, oh my god, I can't handle all this, but because of that disconnect from what you truly want to do, okay, because that can cause stress as well in a job or a career, right? Same thing too, like if this is a romantic relationship, pile 2, it's like right now you've been, you know, if you've been lacking in love, you know, or lacking, you know, finding a partner, it could mean that you have just been so busy juggling things in your life, surviving, that you've just like, I don't have time to find a partner. I feel like nothing's working out when I try or when I do. Yeah. And so the core card, or I'm sorry, the inciting incident here being Death reversed, is a frustration of juggling things because of a lack of change. That's what Death reversed means. And yes, same thing too with the Lovers reversed. Could mean a bad relationship with a person or something like a job, right? And Lovers can also mean reversed, being unable to make a choice, okay? So it's like you have no choice. You've just had to survive and juggle things, okay? But the beauty of this reading, pile 2, the Beast Spirit is coming forward to tell you there's a new idea coming, okay? A new idea that will pop into your head, like I was just saying, a potential cusp on a gateway of something better, right? And it's something that will wake you up with the Four of Swords reversed, and or you'll feel almost alive again, because typically upright, the Four of Swords is someone sleeping. So reversed, it's like, oh, I was kind of in this hazy dream, and then all of a sudden I just feel so energized and awake, and I'm like looking around me, and I'm like, oh, like in that mark I was talking about, and then you turning around and finding that bright light and being like, that's what I need to follow. That's where I want to go. And like I said, I feel like because of the Beast Spirit coming forward, it's like you might hesitate at first a little bit. It might take a while for you to wake up to the idea. And I will ask some advice from the Beast Spirit here on what to do when it does come forward. I have a feeling intuitively that they're probably going to tell you, take the opportunity the moment it comes, but because especially like the love at first sight, right? It's like knowing the moment you look at it, that's what's meant for me. Yeah, and then 2, yeah, if this is like a relationship, pile 2, it could literally mean if you've been lacking with love, or in the love department lately, in terms of opportunities or like people that you just click with, things like that. Someone new is coming along, okay? And it's going to awaken from a time of what felt like a slumber, of a time of lack of something, a lack of change, with Death reversed being the inciting incident card. Okay, so let's ask the Bee Spirit here more about what's going what's a good question to ask? The first thing I'm gonna ask is, we'll get to advice in a second here, pile 2, but I want to ask, what's the best way to word it? In what form does this Ace of Swords opportunity come? Because I want you to know how to recognize it when it comes along. Although, like I said, I feel like you're going to know the instant you see it. But let's just be sure. So, Bee Spirit coming forward for pile 2. Could you please give us 3 cards that explains more about what does this opportunity look like? How will they know it's coming along when it does? Thank you. 3 cards. Six of Pentacles, reversed. A lack of fairness or equality in some way. Six of Cups, lots of sixes, interesting. Six of Cups is nostalgia or things from the past, okay? And last but not least, we have the Explorer of Wands, which is the Knight of Wands in tarot traditionally. So, pile 2. You'll know this opportunity has come along, or you'll recognize it where... Let's see here. I'm also just going to take a drink for my voice while I look over your cards. So the Bee Spirit is saying here, when you recognize, and this is going to sound weird, but when you recognize an unfairness from the past, or unfairness with someone from your past, or things that have been unfair to you in the past, like patterns that have emerged, like say you tended to have a lot of jobs or relationships that had a certain quality about them that you didn't like bad bosses, or relationships where the partner was controlling, things like that, just as an example, pile 2. When you realize that unhappiness, that unfairness, is the moment that the gateway door opens up to you, realizing those things from the past, right? And then with the Knight of Wands, that is a card of immediately take action. And that's kind of what was reiterating what I was saying before. I think you're going to recognize it the moment you even think about it, pile 2. You're going to immediately be like, oh, and then embody that Knight of Wands energy of taking action with fire. And fire in tarot is about our passion and our willpower and our ego. So, not necessarily ego in a bad way. It can mean a healthy ego, right? Because sometimes if we have unhealthy ego, we just get trampled all over, right? Or we feel bad about ourselves. This is healthy ego being upright, okay? I am worth more. I deserve to follow what makes me feel alive and excited to get out of bed every day, okay? I am worth passion, especially say it's like a romantic relationship opportunity coming along. And for those of you where this might be like a romantic relationship instead of career, it could mean that this romantic partner is coming along in the form of someone from your past. Because the Six of Cups, like I said, is about the past, or like nostalgia. It's past energy in tarot, okay? And maybe at one point they had been kind of unfair to you. So maybe that's why you're kind of like, wait a minute, who's this person that was unfair to me in the past? Like, why would they be the one? Okay. But I feel like, especially pay attention to that if they've changed and gotten better. Of course, if they're still a jerk and they're still unfair to you, don't date them. Like, ew. But if you've noticed that they've changed, that might be an indicator that that's the person from your past who is the one you should take action on. Or same thing too, if it's career, maybe someone from your past, is the person that offers you the opportunity in your career to go through that gateway to something better. Okay, things like that. And then last but not least, I do want to ask 3 final cards of advice going forward from the Bee Spirit here about this situation. Okay. I'm going to laugh if the Eight of Wands comes out, but we'll see. 3 cards, please, Bee Spirit. Thank you. Okay, let's see. We have the Magician. You have all the tools you need to manifest what you desire. We have the Ten of Cups reversed. Okay. Look at areas of your life where you're unhappy, pile 2. And we have the Moon. Illusions. Things are not what they seem. So, pile 2. Parting advice from the Bee Spirit today. Number 1. As you go forward on this path towards this gateway, or if you're on the cusp of it right now, the advice you need to heed is A, ask yourself the question, what does my happily ever after look like in my life? And where does it not align with that happily ever after right now at this moment? Okay, that is advice number 1. Okay, and I think that relates to that purpose thing we were talking earlier about. You know, you just maybe kind of walking through life surviving for a bit, and then all of a sudden this opportunity comes up and you're like, oh, I can actually walk with purpose now instead of just surviving, right? Instead of just going through the motions. So that's piece of advice number 1. Number 2 is a reminder from the Magician. You have the ability to manifest what you want. That happily ever after that you've been looking for, okay? Maybe part of this has been being mired and doing something that maybe you're not 100% into, okay? Or a relationship you're not 100% into, or the unhappiness with love in general, is a lack of belief in self to manifest that which you desire, okay? And your Bee Spirit here is reminding you, you have the ability to do that exact thing that you want, pile 2. Yes, it takes effort, right? Just like bees, okay? A hive doesn't get built in a day. I mean, literally it takes time, little pieces of pollen, bit by bit by bit, one worker bee at a time, okay? But if you put the effort in with the tools you already have that power within you, pile 2. That's what the Magician means. You can create that thing that you want. That life that you want, okay? Also, very interestingly, you have the Moon. And the Moon in tarot is all about illusions. Things not being what they seem, okay? There's some aspect of your life right now that you're not seeing clearly. And I think if I were to pin it down to one thing, it's you're not recognizing where your unhappiness is, and you're pretending things are making you happy that actually are not. That's kind of the intuitive thing coming through for me. It's almost a feeling of glossing over things with shiny glitter paint, knowing that underneath there is a crap sandwich. Is kind of how I'll put it, right? I mean, and we all do that, pile 2, so that's not me shaking a finger at you and neither your animal Bee Spirit either, or I guess shaking, I don't know, a wing or a leg, I don't know. I guess a wing at you, right? That's what a bee would do. Because I don't have fingers, but you know what I mean. Jokes aside. We all do this in life, pile 2. There are things that we put up with and things that we deal with and pretend that we're actually happy about that we're not. And we, like I said, glitter paint all over a crap sandwich sometimes, even though deep down we know when we take a bite, it's a crap sandwich, right? So what that card is a reminder to recognize the crap sandwiches of your life. We'll just keep using that. For some reason, I'm really drawn to humor right now with this, but not that it's not serious, of course, but recognize what is not making you happy. What is an illusion in your life right now, pile 2, okay? And see things as they actually are, and that will help you wake up, like the Four of Swords reversed earlier, that act of awakening to something, realizing something, getting your energy back and being like, oh, wait, I've been eating crap sandwiches for a decade, like, why am I not eating, like, I don't know, a Reuben instead, or whatever your favorite sandwich is, right? Insert sandwich that you like here, things like that. So that you don't have to pretend that, you know, what is old and rusted is brand new and golden, when you can actually chase the golden thing, right? Using another metaphor instead of crap sandwiches. Things like that. And yes, like I said with the Magician, believing in your power to manifest these things, okay? Half of doing is believing that you can, is a thing that I always like to say. And that's very much so what your animal spirit here, the bee, is coming and saying to you, pile 2. So, recognize what it is you truly want. Recognize where your life currently misaligns with what you truly want. And believe in the power of yourself to change crap sandwiches into gold. Things like that. Sorry, they're probably like, I'll get a comment down below. I can't believe you kept saying that term. Anyways, whatever. If that comment comes, I'll just ignore it. But anyways, so that was your reading for today, pile 2. I'm very excited for you. It seems like there's a lot of good things coming down the pipeline, which is, of course, always a great reading to give to people. I love giving positive readings that are, happy and things like that, and predict good things coming along. So if you liked the reading, if it resonated, please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading, pile 2. Bye. Hello there, my lovely pile number 3. Welcome today to your pick a card reading about who or what is your animal spirit guide, as well as what message do they want to share with you. As you recall, the pile leader you chose was the 5 of Swords, or if you chose with elemental correspondences, you chose the element of air. So, of course, as is our tradition, when we do use tarot cards to choose our piles, I like to put them right back into the deck so they're available for the message. But first, we're actually going to go with oracle cards to begin the reading today to identify more about what this animal spirit wants to talk to you about, as well as, well, what animal spirit is it, of course, like what kind. Animal spirit coming forward for pile 3, could you please guide us to the right cards that will explain more about who you are and what you want to talk to them about today? Thank you. So your flower today is hibiscus, beauty and happiness. And the quote says, "A thing of beauty is a joy forever," by John Keats. Beautiful. And then with Woodland Wardens, we'll identify what animal is coming forward. Okay, so the animal coming forward today for you, pile 3, is the deer. The deer and oat is the card with the tagline of healing. So the deer and oat. Set that to the left here. Beautiful. So you might have noticed a lot of maybe spotting of deer lately, pile 3, in your life, or maybe deer symbols like antlers. The phrase deer, doe, fawn, buck, things like that. Could be synchronicities from this animal coming forward to remind you that they're around you. And then your card from Sacred Destiny was opportunity, with the night, forest, and the moon. Beautiful. So it actually might be an opportunity coming forward that this deer spirit wants to perk your head up about. Noticing things. I get the feeling that this particular deer spirit, pile 3, is a deer spirit that part of what they play as a role in your spirit team is they help you notice things in general, I'm hearing, but specifically not only to protect yourself with like dangers, like have you ever pile 3 had a situation where you just looked up at the right time and then you avoided something? And you kind of wonder, like, oh man, how lucky that I just avoided that split-second decision thing, right? Or it could be, like, noticing good things, too. Like, when you look down and you notice, like, $1 or whatever your country's currency is down on the sidewalk, and you're like, oh, well, how fortunate that I noticed that. That's kind of the energy I'm getting off of this deer spirit for you, pile 3. So I have a feeling that that's... I want to say it's a protective spirit, but specifically it's a protective spirit in the way of they help you notice things, okay? And then we have number 49, heighten your vitality, which is interesting because healing is the tagline for the deer and oat. There we go. So pile 3, the deer coming forward for you today. I want to say they want to talk to you about a message regarding... What's the best way to put it here? There's something coming in your life, an opportunity, hence Sacred Destiny, that they want to perk your head up about and have you notice, like their usual role is to help you with, that will bring more happiness to your life, that will bring more vitality. We both have the taglines, beauty and happiness, and then heighten your vitality from nature's whispers, right? Something that will bring you a lot of joy, something that will bring more fortune to your life. So it seems like this particular reading today is more of a blessing reading. What's coming down the pipeline that will be of benefit to you, that they want to perk your head up about, like a deer does. They're very watchful creatures, okay? They have to be being prey animals to a lot of creatures in the woods, right? They might notice a wolf or a coyote or different predators that could prey on them, even humans sometimes, right? And I get the feeling that this particular opportunity coming along it's like you almost felt always that it would never happen to you. That's the emotion I'm getting intuitively off of this from the deer spirit coming forward for you. And they're very excited about it. Like it sounds really, really corny, but they're kind of like hopping around very excitedly, like, oh, I can't wait for them to see what this is. I want them to notice what this is. Oh, it's going to be great. Like that kind of energy coming forward from the deer spirit for you. Yeah. And specifically because healing is the tagline from Deer and Oat, it's like not just something that will make you happy, but something that will heal something inside of you. Maybe something that's felt a bit broken. I want to say almost like brokenheartedness. And that can mean many different things, pile 3. That can mean the brokenheartedness after a relationship has ended. It can mean the brokenheartedness of feeling like we've lost out on something, or a platonic relationship has broken, or it could also mean like a financial opportunity where we've been a little bit down in the dumps lately about our financial status. We'll see more specifics with the tarot cards that come out, because that will tell us more specifically about what area of your life this touches upon. But overall, the theme is something really good is coming down the pipeline here, pile 3, and that they're really excited for. Let's see if there's any other messages here before I do pull out some of your tarot cards today. Yeah, it's like you're walking in a dark forest and you look up and you notice the light finally. It's been kind of a theme today for a lot of piles. It seems like a collective message lately has been a lot about finally noticing things I've seen with a lot of readings lately. And that's especially prominent for your reading today, pile 3. Looking up and noticing, oh, this good thing is there. I feel like I've just focused on the darkness for a while, and now I see this little spark of light. And it's like an ember that you take and you nurture into a larger fire, pile 3. And that larger fire is something that brings a lot of prosperity and happiness to you. That's what I'm seeing in terms of intuitive messages. Like, I keep hearing the phrase, light you up. It's going to light you up, which means, like, bring a smile to your face. Beautiful. Probably the strongest animal spirit that's come forward today. Not that the other ones I haven't, been able to connect with, but this one is particularly communicative. I almost wonder if you connect with the spirit a lot already yourself, pile 3, or maybe it's been a while since you've connected with them, and maybe that's why they're coming so prominently forward for you. Or maybe you haven't even tuned in with the animal spirits before, and so this one in particular is just, like, really excited and happy, and just like, oh, I want to tell them, right? Beautiful. I'm also going to look closer at this card for just a moment. Yeah, doing the things that you love. Beautiful. Things that raise your vibration a bit. It's going to raise your vibration, heighten your vitality like the card says. Beautiful. Okay, so let's pull the tarot cards out, pile 3. Of the deer spirit that's really excited to tell you this. Deer spirit coming forward for pile 3. Could you please illuminate a little bit more how you see this situation? What's going on that's going to make them so much happier? Thank you. 5 cards around there. Thanks. Okay. 2. So Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, and 5. Cinco. Okay. So card number 1, we have the 4 of Cups. Interesting. Usually means apathy or not noticing something yet. Yes, you haven't been noticing something, pile 3. They're like, hey, wait a minute. Why aren't you looking at this? Hey, wait a minute. There's this cool thing over here. Like, they keep trying to point you off in that path. We have the Child or the Page of Wands reversed. Okay. Yep, not exploring your passions enough. I don't know if you've been down in the dumps a lot lately, pile 3. Or like you've lost some ambition for your hobbies or the things that spark you up usually. And I remember earlier too, I was talking about like, oh, there's an ember. And you're going to take it and it's going to grow into a fire when you nurture it. Yeah, that's a spark. And then we have the 4 of Wands reversed. Okay, a little bit more fire energy again. Feeling a lack of happiness in the home or a lack of celebration over things, and being the core card, that's like the core emotion of the reading is I feel unhappy with my home or unhappy with, like, I feel like I don't have reason to celebrate can also be an interpretation of the 4 of Wands. And then we have the Magician. Okay, beautiful. The ability to manifest that which we desire. And then last but not least, we have the 6 of Wands reversed. Okay, feeling a lack of victory in some way. So, let's take a gander at these. I'm going to also just take a drink for my voice as I look over these. Now, I'm not seeing a very specific area of your life that this applies to, pile 3. And sometimes that manifests in a reading because this being a general reading for multiple people that might view this particular pile, the answer might just be very, varied across a lot of you. However, I do have a question to ask you that will help you identify what it specifically is in your life. And the question I want to ask you is, what's the best way to word it? One moment. They keep saying, what have you stopped exploring? Is the question to ask yourself. What area of your life, or what in general, have you stopped being curious about? What have you stopped exploring? Also, the 4 of Wands reversed being the core card of your reading today. I want to say that a good guidepost as to what this is related to is in what ways have you been unhappy with your home or in your home, which could also mean family, things like that, or things that you feel like have not been worth celebration. Okay, I almost get kind of a depressive mood off of this reading from you a little bit. It could just mean like a depression in general that you've been mired down in. And it's like the deer spirit's coming forward and trying to perk up your head to be like, no, look. Go down this path instead. There's this happy thing down here. If only you would just raise your head up to look and find it with me. Because especially with the 4 of Cups being the inciting incident here as the first card, that's all about apathy and not noticing things sometimes, literally. Because the traditional depiction of the 4 of Cups is someone sitting down and they're focusing specifically on 3 cups in front of them, but what they don't notice behind them is a cup from the heavens being offered on a hand. Not noticing things, right? You're only focusing on what's right in front of you, staring down at your feet, stepping forward, and not lifting your head up like the deer is saying to pay attention to things, okay? And right now, the trajectory you're on is the outcome of the 6 of Wands reversed. And I won't sugarcoat, and just hear me out, pile 3. The 6 of Wands reversed can mean a lack of victory in some area. with what it is you're trying to manifest with the Magician, because that's what that means, okay? It means the ability to bring forward with your will and the tools that you have inherently to a victory. But the good news is that with tarot, this is only a particular pathway that can occur. But if you pay attention to what the dear spirit is saying to you today, pile 3, you can change that around. You can change that outcome, because we do have free will in life. I mean, there are some things that are what I call tentpole moments in our life that are a part of our lessons to be learned with our current incarnations, at least in my personal belief, but the things in between, the tart between, is what we decide. And most of the time, tarot readings are telling you this is the potential outcome, but you can change it. And we're going to ask your dear spirit today, please let us know how we can get to manifesting the victory that you're looking for, that right now, what you're mired in, or the lack of exploration of the things that make you happy, are blocking you from reaching that, right? Things like that. So let's look at these a little bit more here. Make sure I didn't miss anything. I do want to ask 2 extra questions for you today, pile 3, because I did so for the other piles. But yeah. Lack of celebration, unhappiness in the home. I feel like you've just given up on something, pile 3. Feels like you just gave up. You're like, screw it. But it's saying, no. Keep going, look up. Notice. So, first question I want to ask your dear spirit today, pile 3, and I think this might help you perk up your head a bit, is the phrase. What is it that you're supposed to be looking up and noticing? So, dear spirit, can you give us 3 cards on this opportunity coming forward for their happiness? What are they supposed to look up and notice that will bring forward that opportunity for happiness and vitality? Thank you. All right, Guardian or Queen of Swords. Okay, mastery of the mind, internally, being confident in our words and our thinking. 5 of Cups reversed, okay. Overcoming grief and sorrow. Remember I was talking about, I feel like you've been kind of in a funk, pile 3. And last but not least, we have the Child of the Page of Cups reversed. Okay, so I'm going to take 1 second to look at that as I move in my chair. What are you supposed to look up and notice? Well, number 1, 5 of Cups reversed means not all is lost. And I will tell you what I told one of the other piles today when they got the 5 of Cups reversed. The traditional depiction of the 5 of Cups, pile 3, is usually a man who is staring down at the broken cups in front of him, but not noticing that there are upturned cups behind him. And you do kind of see it in that depiction, particularly of this card of, there's broken cups over here on this side of the river, but there's also 2 that haven't been spilled yet on the other side. Okay. And what that is saying is that not all is lost. And reversed, especially with the 5 of Cups, is the time of sorrow is coming to an end. That's literally what it means, is the time or the ending of a time of sadness or pain or issues, right? Things like that, maybe problems that you've been having. And what they want you to notice is completely within the power of your own mind. That's why the Queen of, or the Guardian of Swords came out today for you in terms of what to notice, pile 3. There's something that I feel like has been mentally blocked a bit for you, especially in terms of, it's interesting because the Page of Cups came out. Now, I usually interpret the Page of Cups as exploring our emotions, right? Or reverse would be a lack of exploring feelings, right? But this Page of Cups can also mean a surprise. Upright. Reversed, it can mean you're not even noticing a surprise. And the dear spirit really does not want you to miss this thing. So my best advice here in terms of what to look up and notice is, especially in the hands of the Queen of Swords here, pile 3. And It's something to do with thinking through your situation more logically rather than with your heart or your emotions. Because that's the strength of the Queen of Swords, is someone who thinks things through logically with a little bit more of like cold rationality rather than, the feelings. I mean, we need a balance of these things in life, pile 3. We need the heart and we need the mind, okay? So you can't just completely toss out one over the other. But right now, the Deer Spirit is saying, please lean more into logic about, is everything really all lost? Is everything really all that bad? Are there surprises that I am missing because I'm so focused on the cups of milk that have been spilled rather than the cups that are still full, okay? And in that, there's something you'll recognize as, oh, that's an opportunity to bring me out of this situation that I've been kind of upset or in a funk about, right? And remember the question I asked you to ask yourself earlier, what have I stopped exploring? Okay, the Queen of Swords can also mean to entertain an internal intellectual curiosity with things, okay? Because the Queen of Swords is strong of mind. Be curious, pile 3. Really look into things deeply around you, completely. And then you'll find not all is lost, and there's a surprise that I haven't noticed yet, okay? Of that opportunity towards a happiness that will fix right now what's not working in my life. What's blocking the victory with what I want to manifest. Okay? 2, I will do a final 3 cards for you from your Deer Spirit, asking if they have any parting advice for you going forward. Okay? So, Deer Spirit. Well, actually, no. I'm going to take that back, pile 3. Because we technically already kind of got advice here. I'm going to ask the Deer Spirit, what's the happy thing coming? Because I think that will help spur you too into looking up like it's asking you to. Deer Spirit, can you please tell us with 3 cards or so, what's the happy thing coming down the pipeline for them? Should they notice it and take the opportunity when it comes? Interesting. Your pile leader just came out. 5 of Swords reversed. An end to conflict. Harsh conflict. An end to harsh conflict. Beautiful. The 10 of Wands reversed is letting go of a burden on your back that has been weighing you down. And 8 of Cups reversed. Needing to emotionally move on. Okay, so pile 3. What is awaiting you should you take the advice from your Deer Spirit to perk up your head and notice the opportunity? Looking at things in the rational way, in the analytical way of the Queen of Swords we saw earlier. An end to the conflict. An end of the burden. And a time to work through emotionally moving on from what has been ailing you, okay, with the 8 of Cups reversed. All right, so that's actually a very, very, very positive outcome, and I think that's why they want you to notice this and take that path off the beaten track that you've been walking, because I mean, like your height and your vitality said earlier, it's literally something that could bring you to the next level of happiness in your life if you notice it and you take that opportunity, okay? So if you've been having conflicts lately with either yourself or others, you've been having a lot of burdens on your back, this will relieve those, okay? And 2, the 8 of Cups reversed, like I was saying, is about emotionally moving on, like I repeated earlier, but it can be something that will help spur you into turning that reversed energy of the 8 of Cups right side up into, now I have moved on emotionally from the thing that was bothering me, okay? Like, say if it is like a depression. So, yeah, remember, stay curious, pile 3. Explore more. What have you stopped exploring? I'm just going to repeat that for a 3rd time in this reading. What have I stopped noticing? Okay. And through exploring and doing the things that you love that bring fire to your soul, through asking questions and entertaining intellectual curiosity, looking at things more rationally rather than through the lens of the heart that might be a little bit broken right now, you'll see that opportunity for happiness and go down that path with the deer in front of you okay, leading the way towards healing, because that's what this keyword is for the deer and the oat, right? And that will bring you to a place of greater light, is what they're telling me to say. So that's what I'll leave you with today, pile 3. I hope that reading resonated. I hope you liked it. If it did, if so, I guess I should say, please like, comment, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so yet. That just helps me out a little bit, which helps me provide more readings for both you and others in the future. And as is our tradition on the channel, I wish you a wonderful, healing rest of your day. And I hope to see you in the next reading, pile 3. Bye.